Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. Right, and we welcome John as well by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, all.
Good morning. I'm Councillor Martin Cox, the Chairman of the Cobtree Manor Estate Charity Committee. I'm pleased to welcome you to this remote meeting of the committee. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded for playback on the Council's YouTube channel, and this will include the instant messaging, which even I can now read. Will anyone else be recording the proceedings? I ask so that people at the meeting will know if this is happening. I will now explain how we intend to proceed this morning. The role of chairman will continue, but the Democratic Services Officer will assist in implementing the remote meeting protocols. The Democratic Services Officer will also produce the minutes and provide procedural advice as required. Further explanations will be provided as we go through the agenda, but members are reminded once again that instant messaging will be visible to those viewing the meeting and must be only used by members for raising technical issues, indicating a wish to speak, raising a point of order, or seconding a motion, or even proposing a motion. I now ask the Democratic Services Officer to take the attendance register by reading out the list of committee members in alphabetical order. Please confirm your attendance by answering present and have your finger near your mouth from now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, everyone. I'll now do the register. Councillor Cox.
Present.
Councillor Daly.
Present.
Councillor Mrs. Gooch.
Present.
Councillor Perry.
Present.
And Councillor Springett.
Present.
So that's a full house. Thank you, Chairman.
Full house, Queens and Aces. I now ask the Democratic Services Officer to read out the list of officers present and which items they're presenting as appropriate.
Sorry, Chairman, chasing the mouse there. This morning we've got Bex Astin, Accommodation Manager for item 18, Mike Evans, Leisure Manager for items 13, 15 and 16, John Foster, Head of Regeneration and Economic Development, Paul Holland, Senior Finance Manager for items 12 and 17. We also have on standby, in case we need her, Lucinda Mackenzie-Ingle, Practice Area Team Leader, Contracts and Commissioning, and me, Debbie Snook, Democratic Services Officer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And without further ado, I go on to item 1, apologies. I don't think we have any, so we'll wander over that. Item 2, therefore we don't have any substitute members. Item 3, do we have any urgent items, Debbie? I'm not aware of any.
No, we don't, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. And I don't see any visiting members with us, so we can omit that. Whistling through the agenda. Right, okay. On to item 5 then, disclosures by members and officers. Are there any disclosures by members or officers, please?
No.
None, thank you.
No, thank you. None.
Thank you very much.
None.
Okay. I'll ask a general question before the need to go through every single member on the committee. Has there anybody who's been lobbied on any of the items in the agenda today?
I have, Councillor.
Okay, in which case I have to go through. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I do apologise, but
No. Yeah. You didn't pick up the phone and go, no, that's fine. I don't want to speak to you. Disclosures of lobbying then. The Democratic Services Officer will ask members of the committee and any substitute in alphabetical order if they have any disclosures of lobbying. They must answer none or yes, and then specify the agenda items. Debbie.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Cox.
None.
Councillor Daly.
None.
Councillor Mrs. Gooch.
None.
Councillor Perry.
yes, agenda item 16.
Okay.
So that's on Cobtree Golf Course.
Yes.
Thank you. And Councillor Springett.
None.
None. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 7 then, to consider whether any items should be taken in private because of the possible exempt disclosure of exempt information. It will be necessary to move into private session to discuss items 15 to 18. If any members wish to discuss the minutes of part 2 of the meeting held on the 26th of January as well, 2021. Okay, so I intend to take parts 1 and 2 of the minutes in the next item, which is item 8 and 14, because of item 14 being in potentially part 2. So I don't intend to go through these page by page. Does anybody wish to raise any irregularities or amendments to the minutes of that meeting on the 26th of January?
No, thank you, Chairman.
Marvellous, in which case I will sign those at a later date as being an accurate representation of the meeting held on the 26th of January. Are there any matters arising from that? No, because we can't actually have agreed them, so that's fine, don't worry. Item 9 then, we don't have any petitions today, nor do we have any questions and answers or answers from the members of the public, and neither from the members on the committee to me as chairman. So on to item 12, where I will read out the agenda item and then refer to the officer who will be presenting the report. So we will go to page 8 then on your papers. And the first item then is the Cobtree Manor financial position. And I ask Paul Holland to give his report, please.
Thank you, Chair. So this is the financial position for the estate as at the 28th of February. As it stands at the moment, we're looking at a year-end surplus of just over £27,000 for the estate. This does, however, assume that all the outstanding contract invoices are settled, and there'll be an update on that in Mike's reports later in this agenda. Nothing new to report in the way of significant budget variances. Mike and Nigel have done a good job in keeping the costs down at the park, and car park income has continued to perform exceptionally well, even despite the closure of the park for parts of the year. No cash flow issues either. Continue to monitor those. There's a further report on the cash flow projection going forward later on the agenda. Just an update on the Charity Fund investment. As you recall, January 2020, it was valued at 930,000. Quite a significant dip through the course of the year. It had recovered to 769,000 in January of this year, and it's now continued to rise upwards again, and it's now valued at 820,000. So still short of what it was sort of 14 months ago, but it is trending in the right direction. Hopefully will continue to recover strongly. That's all I've got to say. Happy to take any questions that members may have.
Thank you very much, Paul. I'm sure you will, in your magical way, find the extra 110,000 as we proceed on in the next couple of years.
I shall do my best.
For the charity fund, keep digging and polishing anything that you find. Can I also just say to Mike and all the staff who help us around the trust itself, thank you for keeping all the costs low. And I think it's worthy of adding that in fact, we had heightened visitor numbers, I would have thought, if the car parking is anything to go by. So being able to hold down the costs as the park is being pounded by extra visitors, I know that we're probably going to hear about that later, but thank you. So does anybody wish to ask any questions at this point? I don't see any indication in the left-hand side.
Yeah, there was, Chairman. I'm trying to stick my phone in the what's it, but it won't go. I'm sorry, but I just wished to... Now there's an image. I wanted to fully support what you've just said, and I wondered if we could perhaps minute our grateful thanks to the teams. I think they've been so good in trying to keep the prices down, the costs down, difficult time, and the park's doing so well, and I would just like to have that formally recognised. Thank you, Chairman, if possible. I'm sure you can better than I can.
I'm sure the rest of us endorse that. I would have hoped that my comment might have been minuted, but we never know. So, yes, I fully support that. If that can be minuted, please, Mrs. Snook. OK, nobody else? Marvellous. In which case, then, the recommendation on page 8 is just to note. Are we all noting? I saw John's lips move, but that's fine.
No. Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you very much. In which case, we will move on to item 13 then. Item 13 you can find on page 15 to 19 of your agenda pack. Right, and just coming back from starting his family and from leave as well, Mike Evans, would you please introduce the Cobtree estate update?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I can do. So yeah, following on from your your comments there about costs and footfall, the park continues to be really, really busy, and we've seen good increased park income in the car park from that. A positive variance of over £50,000 now for the year, which has really supplemented the budget during the difficult financial times for the operators on site. The new staffing structure that we approved in, I think, November time, that is implemented from tomorrow. The staff have all been conducting handover meetings over the last month with their new roles and new management structure, and everything's going really smoothly. Everyone's looking forward to getting started in their new roles tomorrow. So just to highlight some bits there, Cobtree will retain a full-time ranger working 37 hours a week, and will also be supplemented by daily visits from grounds maintenance staff from the Borough Council depot to do checks and litter picks. So that means the ranger can focus more on projects and less on the frontline delivery, and then the park will be overseen by a manager jointly looking after Moat Park and Cobtree Manor Park, because lots of the management issues are the same. So, and looking forward to that all starting tomorrow. The golf course reopened on Monday, and it's been fully booked Monday and Tuesday. During the lockdown, the golf course members have been working with the greenkeeper staff, and I want to formally thank the members for the work they've been doing on site. They've looked after the flower beds, they've varnished the benches and the decking, and I was hearing yesterday they've varnished some of the roof struts, I think they're called, to get the clubhouse decking area looking really smart, ready for reopening. And then on the course, they've been weeding the bunkers, and they've been monitoring the site for litter. They've repainted some metal railings and handrails around the place, so really taking pride in their golf course, which has been lovely to see. The Maritime Active as well have also invested in some improvements around the first tee. Come back nice for everyone. They've brought the practice net back into operation, so that people can have a warm up before they play their round. So yeah, everyone's done those finishing touches around the course, ready for reopening. In paragraph 2.7, I reported at the time of writing that the issue of the T markers had been raised with Maritime Active. I'm pleased to say that Maritime Active have agreed to pay the additional costs for the measuring of those 2 extra T positions, the yellow and blue T markers. So the course will be fully registered for handicapping purposes from all T marker positions. I think they're saying a couple of weeks for the measuring to take place. So from middle of April onwards, that will be available to all golfers who play, regardless of which tee position they play from. Paragraph 2.8, we turn to Kent Life. They're gearing up for their reopening on the 12th of April. Some activities are being adapted and altered to make them COVID compliant. They had that experience from last summer, so that's just rolling that out again. And other activities have to wait for the May milestone for reopening, the tea room, for example. Cobtree Cafe has remained open and trading as a takeaway throughout lockdown, and that continues to be the case. And they'll do that until May, when the next milestone is in. And as with some of the visitor numbers, the cafe has been a really good kind of facility to have in the park during this time. It's made people's their days out one of the limited things you can do during lockdown. It's one of the reasons we've seen so many people in the park. The Cobtree Shed Group, they're not able to meet, and the works at the Elephant House have not progressed since the last meeting, so keep that item on the agenda. And then the final 2 items, the residential properties and the contracts update, we have items on those 2 things further in the agenda. So that's the end of this report. If anyone's got any questions on any of the issues raised so far, I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you very much for that, Mike. And I too endorse what you said about the members of the golf course actually coming down and picking up some tools. Absolutely fantastic. That it really says something about the membership there. So thank you. If that can be noted and minuted, please. On to Val and John Perry, who I have indication in that order, please.
Thank you. It was on that very note, actually. I think it's lovely that volunteers have come out and given their time to keep the course and smarten it up and do things. And whilst it's great that we minute it and note it, I just wonder whether we can put a notice up at the golf course to thank those volunteers that did. And could we get any publicity from it? Could we get a press release out there that says we're open, we're up and running, come and play, and thank you to all our wonderful volunteers that have done this, that and the other? So could we perhaps make the thank you a little bit more public? That was my only thought. Thank you.
What a good idea, Chairman. Ooh.
Or even Val. And the only thing I would say there is we wouldn't be able to put it from us members because we're in Purda, I'm afraid. So I wonder whether you want to hold or just go with the note in the clubhouse, and then when the full opening, so that people can go in and have drinks and stuff like that, I think it might be worthy then, or indeed if there's a new chairman of this, it might be a nice thing to kick off with. I don't mind. If we did a press release now, it would come from either John or Mike. So that's fine to do that, not a problem, but it wouldn't come from the committee, as it were.
Okay, I understand. I'll just throw it in the pot for consideration.
But it's a separate trust. We're not Maidstone Borough Council. We sit here as members of Cobtree Trust.
Do we not sit on it as councillors?
No, we're members of the trust.
Debbie, can you just clarify that?
I would say, well, members are acting on behalf of the council as corporate trustee. I think maybe if a press release went no, it would be better coming from the officers.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Okay, let's mull that over. I will bring that up with John. I obviously feel from officers and members on the committee that we should do something, so we will push forward. I don't think it's important that it necessarily comes. If we can say it comes from the committee, the trustees, that might be one way around it. So officers and trustees might be one way around it, because then it's not seen as political. So that might be one way of doing it. So perhaps Mike or John could assist with that at a later point. On to John. Thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting, John.
No, not at all. I support what everybody's said. Just to say, I'd just like to personally thank Mike for the work he's done on the measuring, the T measuring. This has been quite important. And I do have an apology. When I said lobbying, actually, it was this agenda item, I think, rather than 16 that I've been lobbied on. And it's to do with the T marking and the handicap measuring, which is very important. So I'm really pleased that you've managed to get my time to go ahead with this. I think it's very important. It's important for the members who clearly are very enthusiastic, and so I'm very, very pleased. And thanks very much, Mike. I know you've done a lot of work behind the scenes on this one, and personally, it's very much appreciated. And I'm sure the members of the golf club will be very appreciative of it as well. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Councillor Perry.
Thank you. I'm glad we've got that sorted. I know that from the outside looking in, the emails have been coming in about that for a considerable time, but these things take time to get sorted out. Yes. It does, and I'm not belittling this, but I just wonder how come it takes that long to actually measure 18 holes. But there we are, absolutely fine. I'm sure somebody has a reason behind taking 2 weeks, but that's fine. I'm sure we'll get it done and everybody will be happy and everything will be up to par.
Up to par. Oh dear,
right, does anybody else have anything to say on that? Oh, I do have one question. I just wrote down here at Cobtree Cafe, have the doors now been sorted and fixed?
Not yet, Chair. They're on order with the preferred contractor.
I thought we're not renewing the doors, we're just changing them, aren't we? We're reducing their opening capability.
We are, yeah. We had to get some parts for.
Okay.
Yeah, because all the doors were sliding and concertina, they need to be fixed in place. So we need to get some parts, and the preferred contractor has got them on back order we were chasing that last week.
Probably some pivot flange brackets or something like that. Okay, perfect. We will move on then to the next item. Oh, actually, we're going into part 2 from here. So
sorry, Chairman, we just noted that report, have we?
Yes, sorry. Thank you very much for picking me up on that after all our...
Sorry.
Yes, we all agreed that is noted, and thank the officers for their reports.
Yeah, noted.
See nodding going on. Thank you very much. Right, okay, we're about to move into part 2. We will not be returning to the webcam. If we do need to, for some reason, we would have to reform another meeting. But as far as I'm concerned, after this, Pally will be able to step down. So I move that the public be excluded from the meeting for items 15 to 18 because of the likely disclosure of exempt information for the reasons specified on the agenda, having applied the public interest test. Is this agreed? Would you please unmute for this?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. Agreed.
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 Chairman, we will now need to actually literally move into the other meeting.
To the second meeting on your calendars, please. There should be a second meeting. We will have to take another roll call. It'll be very quick, but we'll see you in there in a couple of minutes. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.